Hey all, this is Firewater from vVv Gaming here to do a nice little video review of the brand new shooter game by Respawn Entertainment called Titanfall. For those of you who are not familiar, Respawn Entertainment have some of the original creators of Call of Duty 1, 2, 4, and Modern Warfare 2. And they had left Infinity Ward and created Respawn Entertainment and developed a brand new IP called Titanfall. Titanfall is set in the future. There is the IMC, which is your evil tyrannical government, and your militia, which is basically your rebel alliance, if you will. And they are constantly at odds, fighting over resources in the frontier. And there's a nice little campaign story mode that goes along, kind of explains a lot of that. So here are what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about the game itself, the graphics, the sound or audio, the control scheme, and the campaign multiplayer, as well as the regular multiplayer or classic multiplayer modes, as they call it. First, let's start off with the graphics. The graphics, I think, are very sharp. I could really tell that the graphics department definitely put a lot of effort into making the game feel like you're in a real war zone. The tattered buildings, the way the maps are designed in terms of the textures really make it look like you're in a futuristic warfare type scenario, and that definitely sells it quite well. I think the graphics are very smooth. I think the frame rates are pretty good, although I have to be honest, I have had some frame hiccups in certain parts of the game when a lot of particles are on the screen, such as flame effects, and if a few Titans blow up next to each other, that seems to be the source of a lot of my frame lag. However, with that said, I did recently tweak my settings, and I haven't really noticed this much since then. I'm running an i7 2600K and a GTX 680. I thought I could run everything at max. It doesn't look like to be the case. But either way, the graphics, even when toned down, do look superb. I feel immersed into the world, and I think a lot of that has to do with the graphics and how it just makes everything look very smooth. The heads-up display gives me all the information that I need when I need it, and that's very valuable to me. And the graphics and the mini maps and whatnot, even the transition into the Titans, like when you jump into the Titan, you see it boot up. It's not like you go in there and it's an instant transition. It's actually pretty cool. There's a little bit of lag time there, and the textures and the graphics definitely make it very real. And the animations are very smooth as well as the way that the militia grunts or and the AI rather, how they actually interact and how they do things. Their animations are very smooth. It looks like I'm not sure if they did motion capture or not, but it looks pretty close. It looks very smooth. It looks very realistic to me, and I definitely enjoy it a lot. Next I want to talk about is the sound. The sound is very impressive to me. The individual gun sounds, some of the pistols sound a little weak, I will be honest. I just think that the pistol sounds could have a little bit more beefy, the 45 should sound like a 45. But the rifles and the shotgun definitely have appropriate audio sounds. And of course, when you get into the Titan and you hear the boom, boom, boom of the Titan, and you hear the robotics move around, the guns on the Titan sound like they're epic. They just they did a really good job creating audio, and again, that continues to play into that immersive environment. Visuals are important, but you also need the audio to match it. I thought the voice acting was average. The campaign story mode acting is pretty effective. I feel like I'm in a war zone, and that the actors, as well as the animations and the other audio that's going on, definitely support that and sell that, which I think is very important. So they definitely get a thumbs up from me with the sound. The control scheme is pretty fair. It's pretty basic. I'm able to set it up kind of like how I would play Call of Duty, only except that there's obviously a couple more buttons, such as calling down the Titan and whatnot, that are necessary, but nothing that would alter my pretty much my stereotypical FPS control scheme. I just I set it up how I did for Call of Duty with an extra couple buttons, and it seems to be working out just fine. What I do wish they had was an ability to put in a number for the mouse sensitivity. Right now they just have a sliding bar, which isn't bad. I think I found an effective sensitivity for me. I like it a little bit more on the lower end, and at the same time I also have to adjust to this new style of shooter where you are moving around very fast, and I got to be able to turn on a dime too. So I do keep it on the lower end, but putting in an exact sensitivity number is useful for a few reasons. For me, I can kind of micromanage and fine-tune it a lot better using that number. And also, if I'm communicating to other players on how to run their sensitivity and things like that, or how they run theirs, and I'm looking to get a couple of tips too, without a number, it's difficult to communicate that point. So I would really like to see that implemented in a patch if at all possible. It's not a deal breaker, of course, but I would really just like to see that. The next thing I would like to talk about is the gameplay. The campaign is a multiplayer campaign, something that is very rarely seen, where you go through about a dozen missions, both for the IMC and for the militia, and you play through the little storyline that they have set up. I feel like it does a very good job of telling the story, although you could join at random times during the campaign because it is multiplayer. Like, I think I started on mission 5 and then I went back to mission 2 at one point or something along those lines. It was kind of confusing for me to follow along with the story just straight through. But I did enjoy what I did see. Another thing about the campaign is that they have storyline going while I'm actively shooting at things. And I gotta be honest, I didn't really pay attention to a lot of it while I was actively engaged in combat, especially in the epilogues, which I know doesn't really matter in terms of victory or defeat, but in the epilogue, I want to try and get as many of those enemy pilots and Titans as best as humanly possible. And I didn't even realize in the upper right-hand screen of my heads-up display is there's actually an animated character talking to me. I thought it was all over voice comm. I did not even notice at all because I'm too busy trying to shoot at things and I'm trying to dodge enemy fire as well. I think the general multiplayer sets the bar for new shooters to come around and try to beat. It definitely has a little bit of familiarity with Call of Duty. However, if you do play this game like Call of Duty, you will get smacked. You really have to learn how to parkour and wall run and wall hang, as well as rodeo Titans, know when to engage Titan as a pilot, know when to engage Titans as a Titan, knowing how to dash as a Titan. There's a whole bunch of movement mechanics in the game, which I think a lot of old school FPS players will enjoy. Those who love to play Quake with the bunny hopping, or love to play the original Half-Life or UT with very quick-paced movement. I think that'll be good, and I think Call of Duty fans will have a blast as well. They'll learn some new skills as well as use the ADS modules. The class setup is very similar to Call of Duty. I was able to go in and pick a class setting for both my pilot and for my Titan, and that was pretty smooth and intuitive. I really like the game modes they have set up. I'm a big fan of Hardpoint. That's pretty much what I mostly play. I've played all of them and they're very cool, but Hardpoint is a domination mode where you have to secure points on the map, 3 points on the map, to get as many resources for your team as possible. What I like about Hardpoint and Titanfall is that it actually relates it to the story. Usually in the Hardpoint missions, you're trying to obtain fuel for either your IMC or for your militia. And it actually makes a lot of sense, whereas when you're in Call of Duty doing that, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm capturing these flags, that's awesome. But, like, what is the purpose? Like, in a real war scenario, we wouldn't be doing that. You'd be worried about focusing on the enemy opposition and trying to take them out as quickly as possible. In terms of the gameplay, in terms of the weapons, I feel that they're very fair. I know there have been a lot of complaints on the forums regarding the shotgun, and the shotgun is powerful. I'm not going to deny that, but I find that I'm winning more close quarter battles with a submachine gun versus a shotgun, then I'm losing. Of course, sometimes I get outplayed, and that happens, but I don't think I'm losing to something overpowered. I'm thinking at the moment that the player just beat me, and hats off to them. They outplayed me in that moment, and I need to learn from that so I can adapt so that doesn't happen again. And another new feature that I haven't seen in any other FPS shooters is the ability to have burn cards. Burn cards are single life power-ups that range from getting more experience to having amped versions of weapons that will do more damage or shoot faster, to being able to call a Titan the first thing in the game. They have a wide variety of values and different functions. And I feel that they add something to the game. I think it's really cool. If you die, you lose the effects of your burn card. Too bad, too sad. You get 3 burn cards per match. If you want to burn them on the first 3 of your lives, then so be it. But then afterwards, you have to deal without. I just think overall, the implementation of burn cards is very, very cool. It adds a little flair and dynamic. Like for one, I prefer to use the amped versions of whatever gun I have out in the beginning, because the first 4 or 5 minutes or so are usually pilot combat, unless somebody has a Titan burn card. And I like to use that because it definitely does more damage, and I can notice a difference, which is very cool. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the importance of Titanfall with regards to esports. Right now, at this present moment of recording, there is very little value to esports, as there are no private lobbies. You cannot set up a private match right now. You can group together with 5 other friends and play against other players. That's not a problem. But at this point in time, you cannot set up a private match. With that said, I do believe when private matches are in play, this game has huge esports potential. The capture the flag game mode, while not my favorite, at least not yet, it is going to add huge dynamics to play when people have Titans and when they don't, and how do they manage the Titan when it's going after the flag and how you don't. I think it would be a blast to have shoutcasters try to shoutcast matches. There's so much depth to this game, and we're only scratching the surface. And I really think it would be a important spectator esport, if you will, because you could have the greatest game in the world. If nobody wants to watch it, it doesn't matter. So that's why I feel like if we can get those private lobbies going and maybe have some lobby flags, if you will, or if you want to tighten things up, restrictions, if you want to turn off burn cards, or you want to limit the types of burn cards you could have, I think that would be great. I'm really, really looking forward to them. Respawn did promise them after launch, and I honestly think it's a good thing that we don't have private lobbies right now. I'm not saying that forever, of course, but for right now, because that allows us to just focus on playing the game and having fun. It focuses us on just enjoying the game, developing a fan base, developing hype for the game. This is so great. I can't wait for private lobbies to be in. This game is going to be a great esport. And I think it just allows people to explore the game and enjoy it right now. Because sometimes with esports, and as much as I love it, and it is a big part of my life, sometimes the competitiveness can ruin a game. And I think it's awesome that, temporarily, of course, that we're able to just play the game and have fun. I can group up with a bunch of vVv members, and we can go into, hard point games and just play. I really think it's great. And I'm also looking forward for the day when they do add private lobbies, because obviously that's a necessity for esports. Well, I will really want to thank you for listening to this audio, and as well as watching the video for the review of Titanfall. This is vVv Firewater, and thanks for watching.